What's up, y'all? It's your boy, DJ Cool Ice Water, also known as the Master Ice of the legendary Africa Bamabaataa and the Jazzy 5 MCs. And I'm hanging out with my girl, Mvtha Cvla, in Mother's Kitchen. I learned that at a very, very young age.
I understand.
And it came through an ass whooping.
Word.
Yep. My father told me my cousins came to visit me from Charleston, South Carolina, straight country. First time in New York City, the South Bronx. Summertime hot. And it was about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. My father would, they was like, can we go outside? My father's like, yeah, check this out. Don't get wet. They had the fire hydrants open in the parking lot, shooting the water. So we get outside. They ain't never seen nothing like that from Charleston, South Carolina. As soon as we get outside the building, they like, can we go over there? I'm like, nah, let's not go over there. Because see, I already know what time it is. No, we going over the place. Please, we never seen it. I'm like, okay, let's go over there. As soon as we get over there, the older dudes, they pick us all up, throw us in there, shoot us with the water, this and that, this. So now I'm like, Lord, I stay outside as long as we possibly can. We over in the park doing this and doing that. About 12 years old, 11 or 12. My mother sticks her head out the window, Bernard Leon, get your ass over there. She used to do that all the time anyway. Everybody, yeah, I gotta go home. Get upstairs, start walking in the house, and you can hear the my pops was like, didn't I tell y'all not to get wet? And he looked at me because I'm the oldest one. And I was getting ready to say something. He said, go in the room, all of y'all. And then he tells me, because I'm at the back of the line, and you take off all your clothes. I'm like, so now I know I'm getting ready to get my butt whipped. I'm sitting in there buck naked. Got 3 cousins and my brother in there with me, and 4 cousins and my brother in there with me. My father walks in. He says, I don't even want to know what happened. Because unless somebody physically assaulted you, threw you in the water, I was like, they did throw us in the water. He said, so they came to the front of the building and threw you. No, we walk out. Check this out. He said, I'm going to whoop your ass in front of everybody here. And when this ass whipping's over, you will realize to never follow or listen to anybody else that doesn't have your best interest in heart for as long as you live. Belt. And from that point on, I became a leader. I was a nerd. I had glasses, braces. I've been this height for a while. I was skinny, had a big head. They used to call me White Castle hamburger box head. I mean, they used to crack jokes. I went to Catholic school, private school, you know, but I lived in the hood. But I was an athlete, and I was pretty cool. From that point on, my mentality was, nobody out here is going to put me in a position where I'm going to get my ass beat like that ever again. And so I hung out with murderers, dudes that used to steal, all type of people in the projects. My boys would be like, yo, Ice, man, why don't you distract the dude while we steal a beer? I was like, I'm walking to the store with them, and my pops is on this shoulder and that. He's like, take your ass in there if you want to. I'm going to whoop your... I was like, nah, I ain't going, you a punk, you this and I said, I'll be that. Or I tell them, ask my mother if I could go, because they all knew my moms. My mom's raised a lot of them. They was like, nah, that's okay, because Mama, hey, she rode with the extension cord. I'm like, damn right. And from that point on, I became a leader. It was like, I'm not getting in trouble following. He asked me a question before he whooped me. He said, let me ask you a question. If you're you're the oldest and the smartest person in the group, why would you follow behind somebody that's dumber than you? And I was like, and from that, it clicked. I was like, damn, you right. He said, all your friends, they all nice guys and this and that and this. They're in public school. Some of them been in the same grade for 2 or 3 years. So you obviously have a whole lot more book smarts than they do. Why would you follow behind them? And from that point on, it was like, you know something, I'm doing things my way. Because if I'm gonna get my ass, he said, if you're gonna get your ass whipped, if you going to jail, make sure you make the plan, and you get away with robbing the bank. Stash the money, do your time, and come out and be rich. He said, I'm not coming to bail you out or do anything for you if you follow behind somebody else. And from that point on, it was like, some of my boys would be like, yo, we going to do this. I'm like, y'all be cool. I'm going to play basketball. I'm going doing it. And I became a leader. And I was like 12 or 13. It was like, how do I not get my ass whooped like that ever again? And see, people talk about, peer pressure. When I was running that Boys and Girls Club, I explained to them, peer pressure is non-void if you have a deterrent. My deterrent was my father's belt and my mother's extension cord. Because she whooped your ass in the street. She ain't giving them. But when you're a woman and you raising boys, when they between the ages of 7 and 10, somewhere along the line, they going to be able to look you in the eye. And they gonna look at you later, and that's when you gotta whop one time in the chest, drop them, and let them know, yo, I brought you. Because my father passed away when I was 14. Me and my brother in the room, we was like, damn, no more ass. We was gonna miss him. We was like, first thing we thought of, no more ass whoopings. Thank you, Jesus. We was wrong, but that's what my mom's comes in the room. She was the disciplinarian. That was the crazy thing. She comes in the room. She's like, okay, your father's gone. I got money to pay for y'all to go to private school. Ain't nothing changed. Da-da-da-da-da. And my brother was the knucklehead, the gangster. He's like, he whispered something. My mom's pulled out the 25 and said, I brought your ass in, I'll take you out. I was like, Ma, I am on your side. She never had to worry about me.
She busts out a 25?
She pulled out a 25 like, I brought you in, I'll take you out right now. Say something. My brother, like he was sitting in his pants. I brought you in, I'll take you out right now. Say something.
Wow. So you had a strong moral grounding coming up. You had a balance between that two, the masculine and the feminine.
Oh, yeah. And then I had an older sister that was 10 years older than me. She was affiliated with the Black Panthers. She used to hang out with Tupac's mother, Angela Davis. She actually got a degree in Swahili. She danced Alvin Ailey dance company, the black ballet, and this. She did all of that. And when I say she's pro-black, she was the ultimate tomboy growing up. She used to beat all the dudes' ass. So she's 10 years older than me. I'm 8 or 9. Me and my brother, we had the nappy afros, and we would say something slick to her. Yo, boom! And she had the rings. 1,000 bracelets, hit you one time in the chest, boom, okay, sis, and because we like I said, I was a nerd, she was street, but she was black, political, fight the power, So at 14, when my father passed away, one day I'm in there I'm doing something in school, and she's like, they teaching y'all that bullshit? Let me teach you about us. And for the next 2 years, like 1 or 2 days a week, for 2 years, she taught me our history. So by the time I was 16, I was completely woke. Her first child was from a Black Panther. Before my father passed away, I never forget, she had about 6 or 7 people in her bedroom. I guess they call themselves having a Black Panther meeting. My father came in as they were leaving. My father's from Charleston, South Carolina, one of them old school. So after they walked out, my father was like, who was all them Negroes up in your room? And then my father said, you had a Black Panther meeting in my house? And my sister looked at my father. My father said, I'm going to just put it this way, because you're a girl, because if you was a boy, all your teeth would be on the floor right now. He said, you will never bring them back in my house again. And it was like 2 months later, they had they was in Philly in a house, and I guess they said that they shot a cop or something like that, and they dropped a bomb from a helicopter and blew up, killed everybody in the house in Philadelphia. Black Panthers. It's all you can read it, look it up and everything. See, the thing is, what a lot of people don't understand is that in order to survive and thrive in this country, especially knowing what you know, you have to be able to play the game.
Yep.
You know, and me going to private school allowed me to learn how to do that on the fly. Because it's like, I'm from the hood. I mean, the hood. But I had to walk up in that school. Yes, sir. No, sir. Amen. and play, do everything right. As soon as I got out of that school, I took the top, had to walk by Cozy Corner, which was a notorious spot in the South Bronx. Look at this big head, man. And I'd be like your mother and take off running. You know? And then I'm in high school, got to wear a suit to school and this and that. It was, the same, this and get on the train and all, the dudes from the other high schools, oh, here come the Hayes boys. I'm like, And I know there was a couple of dudes that was on the block. They used to always crack jokes on me. And I remember graduating from 8th grade and I had on my cap and gown. And he's like, here come this big head. I was like, they said, you proud of yourself, right? I said, yeah. I said, and guess what? In about 5 or 6 years, if you still on this block, you will be washing my car for me. And they like looked at me, never said nothing else to me. Because I couldn't fight. I had to learn how to use words. That's why one of the reasons why I became an MC, because I became gifted with words on how to crack jokes. I knew how to cut a person down in a heartbeat. Just look them up and down and just, okay, we not messing with ice no more.
Wow. So, what age group were you? How old were you when you... First off, you're a DJ and an MC.
Mm-hmm.
Which one came first? Was, of course, the words, but...
I remember in 7th grade, I first heard like a hip-hop tape. This is like I graduated in 74. I heard a hip-hop tape with some guy rapping on it. So I remember in 7th grade writing rhymes. But I told you I was a nerd, so I wasn't really thinking about standing up in front of anybody. But I love writing, so I would write rhymes. But I actually became a DJ first. Because when my older sister, I got a picture of this. 4 or 5 years old, my father orders a brand new stereo. I wouldn't let nobody touch it till my father came home. I was that much into music, and he showed me how to use it, this and that. So by the time I was 6 or 7, every payday Friday night, every other Friday, he would get paid. He'd come home with a bag of 45, the records, and his bottle of whatever, Johnny Walker. And he'd invite some of the friends from the building to come up, and they would drink and they would play the music and they'd be in there dancing, having a good time. And that's one of the places where I got my nickname from, Ice, because I was 2 or 3 years old, walking around snatching the ice out of their cup when they wasn't paying attention and chewing on it, getting drunk, not knowing, because they drinking liquor, and I'm like, then I'd be wobbling. But he drunk, he done snatched all the ice out of everybody's cup. But as I grew up in a house of music. So at about the age of 7 or 8, my father actually allowed me. One day I was playing music, and he was like, some of his friends was over. He's like, you go pick the songs, because I knew all the music. So I put 10 songs on. I think he could hold up to 10 records on the thing. So I put them on there, 45s. And after the first 10, he's like, okay, check this out, man. You trying to kill us. I'm like, what you talking about? He said, yo, we in there with our wives, our women. Put on 3 or 4 joints we could dance to, then put on something we could rub to. We ain't trying to sweat, and then put on something mellow and then start the party again. And that's how I learned. That was my introduction to rocking the house, learning what songs was the real hot ones, the ones that'll warm them up, the ones that'll get them grooving, and then the ones where they, like James Brown, you throwing James Brown, everybody getting down.
Yeah.
Give them 2 or 3 of those, and then break it down with something slow, and then break it down with something mellow, and just start that process all over again. I got my first set of turntables 1977 for Christmas, because I knew I wanted to be a DJ. The first 75, 76, I stepped outside. I went to my first block party. Cool DJ D, Tyrone, the mixologist, they was out there, and I knew right then and there that's what I wanted to do, because they were playing music, and I'm listening to what they playing. I'm like, man, y'all suck. I know what to play to get these people partying and this and that and that. This. You know, my mom's bought me some turntables for my 16th birthday. Well, really Christmas, but my birthday is January 2nd. So, and then one of my childhood friends, his name is the original DJ Jazzy J. Mm-hmm. He already was DJing. And so he showed me, he's like, yo, okay, this is what you do. And I caught myself trying to scratch. When he got through doing that on my turntables, I knew right then and there I would never be that type of a DJ. You know, so he said, but before I teach you this, I want you to learn how to mix. And so I learned how to mix the same songs, have them on the same speed. And then he said, now I need you to learn how to mix different songs. You got to be able to count it in your head. Nowadays, they give you the BPM. In my day, you could name any song right now, and if I know it, I could tell you 10 songs that I could play with it. Just from having it in my head, that the speed of the song. And then he said, now this is what you do. He told me, grab Shotgun by Junior Walker and the All-Stars, and grab The Temptations, Ain't Too Proud to Beg. He said, when you can mix that, you'll be one of the best mixers ever. And I was like, why? So I'm in there trying to do it, and I couldn't get it. And then when I finally got it, and I showed him that, he was like, let me tell you why those two records are so hard to mix. He said, because first of all, there's live drummers on there. Second of all, these are made in the 60s. They was getting high. So the song may start out at 120-something beats per minute, then it jumps down to 116, because they was all over the place, because they was high, and then they had different breaks and different. So once I learned how to do that, it's like, psh, he said, you can mix anything. And then he showed me a little bit on the scratching side. I could do this and do that, but my mentality was, I just wanted to play music, be able to mix it and just keep the party flowing. And if you listen to me, actually, when I'm playing, it'll sound like one continuous mix. You know, so I started DJing first. My brother was actually running around MCing. He was MCing and Jazzy J was the DJ. And so one day I'm in there DJing, and I was talking on the microphone. I'm in my room and I'm practicing. I guess I was making a tape or whatever. And my brother comes in. He's like, yo, man, you need to be an MC. You love the English language, and man, your voice, you could get all the girls. I was a nerd. I was like, damn, okay. So then he told me, he said, write 5 32-bar rhymes, memorize them. And like 2 weeks later, me and him went back and forth this, and he said, okay, now you come with me to Bronx River. I'm like, man, I ain't going to no Bronx River Center. Home of God, the Zulu Nation, this and that. They used to stick up people on a regular basis just trying to get in the party. He's like, don't worry, you coming with me, you good. I'm looking at him like, you the younger brother. What the? So I get there, I'm hanging out, Powwow, Biggs, Hutch, Ice, Lisa Lee, all of the MCs there on the stage, and Bam has just got Jazzy J cutting up stuff and this and that and this. And I'm like standing off on the side of the stage, and they're all on the stage and they rapping. This is when it was just throwing on beats and you just rapping. And then, you know, when Powwow was done, he was, Sundance, my mellow, my man, let me see what you could do with the mic in your hand. And then Sundance would start rapping. And so when Sundance started rapping, he mentioned a Powwow. Yo, give my brother the mic. Give my brother the mic. So Powwow's like, man, come on and stay. So I came up there, he gave me a mic. My brother said, I think he could be up there for a while. This brother said like 4 lines and then pass it to me. And I just started rapping and going and going. And I knew I had my 5 32-bar joints, so I did 2 back to back. And then I passed the mic to Mr. Biggs. And Bam walks over to me. He's like, who you down with? You Sundance brother? I'm like, yeah. He said, who you down with? I was like, nobody. He said, now you down to Soul Sonic Force. I was like, okay. And from then on, it was a wrap.
What brought you from that to this area? What was the transition like?
Okay. In the early to mid 80s, okay, I made rap records, right? Never signed a contract. Okay. When he offered us the contract, it was like a slave contract. I'm like, I'm not signing that. I do have an education. Some of the people in the group wanted to sign. I said, go ahead. I think we're all worth more than 1/4 of 2 cents or 1/5 of 2 cents. Then he gonna take studio time, costume, everything out of our 2 cents, 2%. I'm like, nah, I'm not signing that. So we kind of got blackballed. Planet Rock came out the next year with Africa Bamabaataa and the Soul Sonic Force, and that blew up. So that kind of, we did some shows with them in the beginning, but but anything that the label shows that the labels put together, we couldn't be on. And so by 83, 84, probably 84, I was already frustrated. Crack had already invaded the South Bronx. It was all in the projects. Dudes was robbing their own houses, hitting themselves inside the head and telling their mother, somebody came and sold a TV and did this and did that. And they, you know, and I could see it all around me. Matter of fact, it was me and about 25 to 30 people that I grew up with in the projects. So basically, like I said, we all had a meeting. Ended up being about 30 or 40 of us. We all left for the military. My brother went in the Marines. A bunch of my friends went in the National Guard. I went in the Air Force. I got stationed on Eglin Air Force Base, 85, 86, and got here. My roommate took me, drove me around. I called my mother, said I ain't never coming back. I'd come to visit New York, but I could never live there again. And I've had chances to move to Atlanta, a couple of other different places, and I'm like, nah, I'm staying in this area. This area is heaven compared to what I grew up with. I love it because it's in the middle of everything. I'm 5 hours from Atlanta, 3.5 from New Orleans, 2.5 from Biloxi. I could go the other way to Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Orlando. I'm good. And I also look at it as, from a business standpoint, I wanted peace and quiet. You know, I wanted to be able to DJ. And after being here for a couple of years, I knew as a DJ, I would end up being a shark in a pond, compared to being in New York City where I would be a guppy in the ocean. You know, I've been DJing since I've been here since 86. It's always been my part-time job since 86. And I DJed on Eglin Air Force Base from 86 to 2002, and anybody tell you that was the place to be. I played upstairs, downstairs in the ballroom for the hip-hop, upstairs for old school, and in the back for like a little bit of R&B, a little bit of rock, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, from 86 to 2002. And anybody that was in the military that was at Eglin would tell you, Eglin was the party base in the United States. You know, and then I also did the private stuff. I went downtown. I started DJing at the Elks 87. They was telling us on the base, nobody's allowed to go down there because some people had got killed. I went down there. I was like, that ain't the hood. That's the country. I'm from New York. You don't know what the hood is. And I went down there and met my man, Mickey Brodaz. Told him who I was. He let me spin. He's like, yo, you now down with me. We called 3 the Hallways. Another dude that was down with him named Tony Tone, rest in peace. He was from Brooklyn. So it's me, him, and Mickey. And I was rocking Eglin on Friday night. I'm at the Elks on Saturday night or Sunday night, you know, from 86 to 2002. And then I was also doing private functions, wedding receptions, private birthday parties, worked for all the sororities, fraternities, the Masons, the Shriners, the Elks. So it was like, I'm not leaving here. I'm staying right here. It's comfortable. And I love the area, period. I started, you know, spending out here in Pensacola about 10 years ago doing jazz. The ballroom dances, Dance Connection, they started coming out. And they started saying, can you play this? Can you play that? And I was like, okay. And I was starting to get their grooves and seeing them what they were ballroom dancing to. Then I started bringing stuff to the table that they knew or that they didn't know that I felt they could dance to. And then that was another relationship that was born. I was doing a lot of their line dance conventions and ballrooms and steppers conventions. I started something with my man Ronnie Cole out in Pensacola called Soulful Sunday about 8-9 years ago at Osceola Golf Club, where we did every Sunday. It was for grown folk, you know, the line dancers, the ballroomers, and the steppers, and this and that. And from that, I ended up working with the Q Dogs and the AKAs out here in Pensacola doing their debutante balls.
Something about you, Ice. You
Pink
got
in the City,
a gift.
and this and that. And
you got a gift.
Well, I know how to push the right buttons to motivate people. You know, because usually when I'm calling, I'm asking, but in a way I'm telling. I need you to be here. You know, da 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 da. You know, and everybody's looking at me. How you always? I said, well, first of all, I treat people the way I want to be treated. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that nobody can ever say is at my shows are unpredictable, because you're gonna do your songs, but you don't know what I'm gonna do. And what I try to explain to people is that's hip hop. That's hip hop. You know, I don't want everything to be scripted, because then it's boring. It's like, okay, if you go rap like what's my man Marcel P was talking about? No, we don't rapping over. If you go rap over your vocals, I can play the song. What I need you here for? You know. Right. But yeah, that's just me bringing my element of hip hop into what I do. You know, I love throwing a beat. Okay.
What y'all gonna do with it?
Yeah, give me something. And that's when you could tell a true artist from a copycat or somebody that's just a studio rapper. You know, like I know the last time when you and Faith and I threw in that beat and Faith started singing to it and you started rapping to it, that same beat, her name is Anna Hernandez. She lives out here. She sings. When at the Green Door, she posted something on my page from like 3 or 4 years ago. She said, I got to get back down there. I had threw in a beat. She told me she could sing it. I was like, get on the stage. I called her out. You know me. Got up on the stage doing a beat, and she just started freestyling to it, singing, then rapping a little bit. She's like, I got to get back down there. You the only DJ that puts people on the spot. But if you're really and truly an artist, you have no problem with that because you can hear it. It's like, okay, you want to go there? I got something for you. You know, and that like I said, that to me is hip hop, and that's what's kind of missing. I'm gonna give you my top 5.
Your top 5. Okay.
My top 5. First,
five.
I'm gonna say top 5 as far as you know. I guess legit MCs, and then top 5 underground, local 850.
Okay.
Legit top 5: Rakim, Nas, Black Thought, Biggie, and then I could say another dude, but I'm gonna go with a female in honor of Sha Rock, who's the first female MC. And for right now, I'm gonna say Rhapsody. Those are my top 5. Now I would stick Laurel Hill in there, but because she's probably my favorite of all time, you know. But you know, one album. So I guess I'll say Laurel Hill, but Rhapsody is like right there with me because she spits fire. I like Sha Rock. Few of them, but like I said, Rakim, Nas, Black Thought, Biggie. Okay, now my 850 top 5, and these are all my hip hop soul artists. I don't listen to rap. I'm just letting you know. And these are all people that I plan on, if I ever get a chance to do a major tour, they all coming with me. AJ the Musician. I guess I got to put the Strangers in there, but I am a stranger. But okay, the Strangers. Mvtha Cvla, Rashawn Starworth, Faith. Now there's more, definitely more. You know, a couple of I like P Funk. I like she's gonna kill me. Kalia. Damn, I know she's gonna kill me for that one. I like Jay Rich. I like Hoodie Season, my younger Elevated Underground brothers. I like HB Frike. He's more on the rap side, but he definitely brings that energy with him. And there's a few out in Pensacola, but like I said, those are my favorite 5. The one that really and truly surprised me the most, without a doubt, was Rashawn Starworth. Because like I said, I'm looking at him as a snot-nosed wannabe boxer when he's 12 or 13. And, you know, then he's rapping, you know, and then he starts singing. And I'm like, oh, my God, this brother, I told him, I said, yo, you like blues, you've crossed blues and hip-hop, you know. And the reason why I like the five underground artists, because they all have their own style. They don't sound like anybody else. I mean, anybody else. Everybody's original in their own way. Faith has the pitch and the tone of an angel. When she sings "Have Faith," it just touches me like where I don't know if it's butterflies. Maybe I want to cry. I don't know what it is, but her tone is beautiful. I already spoke about Rashawn. Mvtha Cvla, you're like one of the original hip-hop soul artists as far as I'm concerned, because you've merged singing and hip-hop lyrics, and then because your African roots and your motherly, I mean, you on a completely different level, you know. And like I said, you sound original. The Strangers, I kind of helped put them together, you know. And it's 5 voices, 5 different styles, and everybody's spitting. You know, and AJ the musician is just a bad motherfucker. That's all. He sings, he spits fire. Those are my top 5. And then in Fort Walton Beach, about 7, 8, 9 years ago, everybody knew that I was a DJ. You know, and people used to give me tapes and CDs. Yeah, I'm a rapper, and I listen, and I tell them, look, I'm not into the cussing stuff. I'm an MC. I'm not a rapper. Right. So they, I'm not even listening to that. And then one day,
Coastal word.
Yeah, and then one day, I went somewhere and I met Mixture. And I was listening to him. I was like, damn, he got some skills. Mm-hmm. You know, I said, so he invited me out to the Hard Rock in Destin. They was having a show. Him, Strange Tang, which was Oblique and Price at the time, and a few other, Mickey Mouth. It was a few other dudes.
You said Strange Tang?
Strange Tang was Oblique and Price
like
on the mic.
I feel like I ran into y'all so many years ago.
Yeah.
Back in the day, because I was in Panama City. I was right down the street. Yeah. Panama City and Tallahassee. Yeah. And I graduated. Well, I went to Niceville High. Mm-hmm. I graduated in 2003. Okay. But we moved to Panama City before I graduated. So I was always in that area.
I got you.
Those names.
Yeah. They kind of, they invited me out to the Hard Rock. So, and it, I think Mixture had a band called The Industry. Joe, Trey, and the young one, Drells. On drum, Drells was on drums, Trey was on the keys, and Homemade Soul used to rock out with them every once in a while. So I'm in there, and I'm listening to these dudes, and I'm like, these dudes are actually, they could actually rap. They're saying something. I was like, yo, how could I be down? Everybody knew I was a DJ, so the next one we do, just come set up there, and we'll let you do the before and after. You know, so we sitting up at the Hard Rock, you know, it's in Destin. Bunch of, you know what's in there. And it's like everybody's looking at me. I'm coming in there setting up my stuff in this, and they're like, what are these black people? You know, what did they get ready to do? Everybody's looking nervous, and you know the artist is like, well, they're not really paying them no mind because they gonna do what they're gonna do. I say, yo, I got them. Don't worry about it. Plug me in. As soon as I start, first song I throw on is James Brown live at the Apollo. They was like, the audience was like, damn, okay, he playing some James, you know. Played a couple of, and these are just classic break beats. Played a couple of other joints that they could relate to. Cut up Aerosmith. I was just, they was like, okay. They actually stuck around and checked out the rest of the show. And so after everybody did what they did, a lot of people's like, yo, you really and truly need to, you know, help us out here because you got skills. And so I did something at the Green Door with Strange Tang. Talked to the owner. He was like, because I'm playing music before everybody performs, and I'm playing old school. You know me. And the dude was like, yo, man, you got Nucleus Jam on it? I was like, please. I threw that on. And he's like, yo, I got to have you playing in here. I said, yo, I do, what was it, Thursday nights. He was like, okay. So I'm playing old school. I'm playing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then after a while, I was like, yo, can I bring some artists in to come perform? Give them a place there. He was like, yo, do what you want to do. I'm like, okay. And then I started bringing in artists and inviting artists to come in. And then it built into something. Green Door changed hands. But the new guys that took it over, they was like, yo, just do what you do, this and that. And that's where I started building relationships, because I looked at it as the local artists needed some place to perform, you know. And then some of them could use some tutoring and some mentoring and some advice and this and that, you know. And I felt like if anybody could do that, it's supposed to be me. I've always been a mentor, leader. I ran a Boys and Girls Club for 15 years, making a difference in the lives of, you know, close to 1,000 teens in the Fort Walton Beach and Pensacola area. So it was like, instead of working, you know, with that younger age group, I'm like, well, all these people are 21 and over. I knew a third of the rappers that was coming through because they was from the Boys and Girls Club. You know, so it's like, man, what? And they was like, Mr. Ice, you know what's up? And I was like, oh, damn, how you doing? You know, Rashawn, he comes up to me one day. yo, you know I rap. I'm like, man, go rap a sandwich, man. Leave me alone, you know. He's like, yo, you used to play all that Nas, man. I'm telling you, I got skills. I was like, okay. And then one day he gets on the stage and does what he does, and I was like, damn. I told him, I said, yo, you got skills, you know. You came through. I mean, AJ the musician, it was a bunch of, and I was like, okay. And the more I started seeing the talent, I was like, hold up. Somehow, some way, I have to make a connection with whoever I know in New York. The world has to hear y'all. Because I was hearing all the stuff that was on the radio, which made me stop listening to radio. And to me, 95% of it sounded the same, and most of it was garbage. You know, and it's like, I'm listening to y'all. I'm like, damn, y'all got talent. You know, a little bit of grease hand, a little bit of this hand, this and that. And that's just my passion, you know, helping others, making a difference in the lives of others. And I did that, like I said, through the Boys and Girls Club. And then music was a natural progression for me. And so
here you are.
Yep.
Wow. So what's next?
For me, like I said, I've told you this off camera. I've told literally everybody this off camera. I feel like it's my duty to help push y'all through the door. I want to be able to turn on my radio or turn on my television and see one of y'all up there saying, yo, shout out to my man, the Master Ice, aka Cool Ice Water, you know, for that early shout out. For, you know, pushing, you know, helping push me to this point. That's the thing. I guess that's what's next for me. Making sure that y'all make it. I don't want anything. I just say thank you and this and that, and then I can say, yo, I knew Mother Cvla or Raspy Raz, or she got 35 names, but I knew her. You know, I knew this person, you know, yada yada yada. That's as far as for me personally. I mean, I'm at an age now where it ain't about me getting up on the stage and winning this or doing that or whatever. It's about putting y'all in a position to do that. And if y'all decide to say, hey, Ice, come DJ for us or come do that, you know, I'll be there for as long as these hands work.